My name is Beate Sodeik, and since 2002 I'm professor here in the Institute of Virology at Hannover Medical School. If I would have to give a common title to everything my group is doing, I would say it's the cell biology of herpes simplex virus. Since this is a virus causing encephalitis and infecting the brain, we study its infection in neurons. And furthermore, the virus causes a lot of very serious skin diseases, so we're also using skin models and skin cell types and investigate what the virus does in these cell types. And finally, since the immune system knows how to combat infection and how to prevent infection, we are also trying to understand the mechanisms that immune cells have to prevent herpes simplex virus infection. We have two areas in the cluster. The main cluster I would brand us as the capsologists. And so what I mean by that is we are trying to understand how the virus packages its large genome in the small capsids, and then further into virions, and then use that containers to transport its genome to the next infected cell where it causes another infection. So that's the main areas that we are trying to study. And we are interested how the virus depends on host factors to fulfill these functions, but also how the host has evolved factors and proteins that are trying to prevent these infections. So we're trying to understand both aspects, how virus-host cooperate, but also how the host is trying to prevent the virus from infecting. I must say that the cluster really changed my way of thinking about our project. I mean, coming from the biology, I'm a biologist by training, so I'm really interested how things work. You know, what does the virus do to the cell? And from the biochemistry perspective, I really try to understand how the viral enzymes and the host enzymes do their job in the cell. But becoming a member of the excellence cluster also turned my attention more to the disease and to the pathogenesis, and to the challenges that we have in treating patients. And if I may add, in particular, we are collaborating with Thomas Werfel, who identified susceptibility genes in patients who have atopic dermatitis. And it's actually a subgroup of AD patients who suffer terribly from these skin infections. And we hope that with our tools and our skills and our knowledge, we can contribute to understand why these susceptibility factors, why these proteins encoded by these susceptibility genes cause stronger disease and more serious sequelae, and that we hope that if we understand how this works, that we may also come up with means to counteract this and to help these patients to be better protected against these infections and to fend off these infections. For me, the fascinating part in virology is the scaling aspect of that. And I must say that already since I studied, I was fascinated by this. And what I mean by this is that a single point mutation in a host protein or a single point mutation in a viral protein can have dramatic consequences on the disease and on the fate of the patients. So by having single point mutations, the virus becomes better in spreading within the host, or becomes better in defending the immune system, or on the other hand becomes very susceptible to the immune system and then cannot spread in the host and cannot cause disease. And I must say really this scaling of a single detailed point mutation having these consequences on the entire host and on the well-being of the patient, and maybe also in the spread to a new patient. That's really what fascinates me still after doing this since 30 years.